Are you in the market for another gacha game to replace your Genshin Impact addiction? Maybe you're looking for a tactical turn-based game that's free and easy to get into? Well, Alchemy Stars might be the game you're looking for. Before we go any further, this isn't a sponsored video, unless that sponsor is Raid, Shadow Legend. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Alchemy Stars is a tile turn-based tactical gacha game published by Proxima Beta, a Singapore-based subsidiary of Tencent. Now, I won't be offended if after hearing that you immediately drop this video. The crux of the gameplay revolves around creating combo chains by connecting colored tiles that correspond to your character's elements in order to power up their skills. Each character specializes in a particular role, supporting, converting tiles, or damaging your enemies. To keep things spicy, some characters even have dual elements once they're upgraded. Very cool. The game appears very daunting at the outset, but actually manages to find a good balance between simple enough to turn your brain off, but also rewards you when you want to turn your swollen, sweaty, and well-contoured brain on. To put things into context for the rest of the video, I haven't spent a single dollar on this game, though I have re-rolled, and I have been quite lucky with my pulls. I want to address the elephant in the room first, because I know a lot of you savvy gacha gamers out there won't invest your time in a game if it's pay to win. I personally don't like pay to win, particularly in PvP games. So right out the gate, I want to tell you that there's no PvP in this game. This is strictly a PvE game. But a lot of games are PvE and are still pay to win, I hear you say. Good point. The difference here, in my opinion, is that this game has a much softer whale curve than many gacha games. Like pretty much every mobile gacha game in existence, this game has a stamina system. It is not exceptional in any way. However, the summoning rates are a bit kinder than most other games, with a 2% chance for a 6-star character, with an early linear ramp-up pity system similar to, but better than Genshin Impact's. This is one of the better gacha game systems I've played. You may hear some other content creators talk about gacha games and their generous rates. And I want you to know that you have a better chance of putting your hand on the sun than hearing me ever say gacha games are generous. Because they're not. A few game-specific things stand out to me now having played this game for a couple of weeks. Firstly, the main character unit given to the player at the start of the game is frequently used in meta teams. Nice. The second thing is that the strongest units in the game are obtainable by all players via an unlockable quest. This quest is a series of achievements that you must complete in order to unlock these legendary characters one at a time. And by the calculations done on the Alchemy Stars Reddit, it would take a free-to-play player about 80 days to unlock one playing optimally. This can be reduced by about a quarter if you're a whale, but honestly, everyone ends up with the same free, powerful units at the end of the day anyway. So if you're planning on playing the game in the long term, who really cares if it's slightly faster to whale here? Thirdly, the game starts off easy enough, and at one point I was actually kind of bored with how easy it was. It then ramped up in difficulty around chapter 6 of the main story. This increase in difficulty was surmountable by leveling up and increasing the power of my units via ascending them, and this felt fair and satisfying to watch my characters grow stronger in order to overcome each level. The only limiting factor here, again, is stamina regen. I don't feel that Alchemy Stars is particularly pay to win. I prefer to distinguish this as a pay to progress faster kinda game. Obviously, this game suffers from the chance-based summoning system that all gacha games do, but you, being the smart cookie that you are, probably didn't need me to tell you that. Initially, I was concerned that the characters in the game felt indistinguishable from one another. Looking back, I think this was mostly because of the simple looking tile-based combat and the fact that each character had only 2 skills. Like, how complex could the gameplay in this game really be? I was wrong. I can tell you this is not the case. As each character levels up, they unlock more passive skills and the ability to upgrade their stats and skills slightly. Note that one such skill upgrade will require you to have duplicates of that specific character after a certain point in the upgrade tree, and this is, if anything, the most pay to win the game gets. But these upgrades are by no means necessary for progression. Each character's skills, role, and element allow them to function as part of a team composition, and from my experience, having a solid team composition is far more important than having a single overpowered character. Importantly, pretty much all lower rarity characters are viable in this game, and a lot of teams will make very good use of lower rarity characters. In terms of each character's function within a level or map, all characters will have an active skill, a chain skill, and a passive skill called an equipment skill. I'm not sure why they chose to name it an equipment skill, because it seems arbitrary and dumb because you can't really swap the equipment. Anyway, a typical round in combat consists of using any active skills that might be available to attack, teleport, convert tiles, or heal, then move your characters and trigger any attacks against enemies that they walk past, before they cast their chain skill at the end of their movement. It's a very simple system of combat, but feels extremely rewarding when you're able to execute moves that require a lot of planning ahead of time. A negative that I noted was that I sometimes felt cheated by the random nature of the tiles, which spawn randomly as one of 4 colors. Sometimes I'd find myself trapped with no good moves, surrounded by a group of enemies about to destroy my team. But this can be largely overcome by planning moves ahead of time or making good use of Aurora time, which is a free turn after making a max combo chain of 15. But despite this, the feeling of being cheated by RNG still persisted at times, which, ironically, is what gacha games are all about when you really think about it. There are several PvE game types within Alchemy Stars: a linear story mode, resource collection dungeons, an expedition type mode, and a challenge level mode called the Spire. I found the Spire to be by far the most enjoyable content due to the fact that you are forced to make your way through increasingly hard levels with gimmicks in them, while only being able to use units of a single colour. The Spire doesn't require any stamina and rewards you for clearing each floor. It felt very satisfying to fail a level only to return after becoming stronger and then crush that floor. Nice. This game has nice art. The characters are detailed and interesting. Each of the characters looks unique. Except for all the forest attribute characters who all kinda just look like they wanna hug trees and be friends with you. Also, I'm not really into the eyes and tentacles thing. Anyway, my biggest gripe with the visuals in this game is that the quite frankly incredible character art in menus is replaced by ugly bobblehead 3D chibi designs while playing the game. Why do all games do this? Why don't they just keep the art style consistent in all parts of the game? The game limits what I believe is one of the best assets to flashing across the screen when skills are activated, and that's it. Another problem I had with the game was the visual clutter of the UI. There's too much text on every screen for my liking, and at the start of the game I found it hard to know where to look. It's easier to know where to look crossing 5 lanes of traffic on a busy highway than navigating the opening menu of this game. It's that bad. I'm not really an audio guy, so I don't have much to say here. I actually quite enjoyed the sound design of the game. The music was atmospheric and exciting, if a bit generic. On the other hand, I found the skills and UI sound design hit and miss. Some sounded great and impactful, while others felt flat and unexciting, like the attack noises as a character runs past enemies. As per usual though, the Japanese VAs were top tier, no complaints there. I already described before how cluttered and unintuitive the UI felt, but even worse than that, it felt extremely laggy and unresponsive. At first, I thought it was just my usual Australian lag to overseas servers. I'm playing on the Japan server, but this seemed to be an extremely common complaint from players across the globe. The layout of menus and submenus was not the clearest to navigate at all, but probably would have been tolerable if not for the hideous lag that you face with every menu item press, which made it honestly unbearable. The controls were easy to grasp, though the in-battle UI felt clunky and unresponsive too. It also felt horrible trying to cancel a movement path on your turn if you'd changed your mind. Each time I cancelled it, it felt like I had to wait the lifespan of a small solar system before I could select my new path. It's worth noting that this game does have an auto battle function, which can be enabled after first completing a level. Every time you enable the AI, it feels like you're flipping a coin on whether you succeed or not, because half the time the AI will ruin a perfectly good combo and then run to the opposite side of the map for literally no reason. I'm pretty sure the AI was programmed by a monkey. If you've made it this far into the video, you're probably seriously considering playing the game. Which brings us to the last thing I want to touch on, and that's rerolling. Rerolling in this game was not the hardest ever, but it was by no means the easiest. You can use salted emails to reroll, or if you're on an emulator, use cloning of an operating system with the game installed but not yet opened. Progressing to chapter 1.4 nets you about 26 pulls with the launch event, 13 on permanent banner and 13 on special banner, and this doesn't take too long, probably about 6 to 10 minutes. However, doing single pulls in this game is a nightmare with the laggy UI and the fact that there's no roll again function. It genuinely made the part of re-rolling that's usually the most enjoyable, summoning, the most miserable part of an already miserable experience. Because let's face it, having to re-roll in the first place to get what you want sucks. I'd say that this game has great potential with simple, unique but rewarding gameplay and a free-to-play friendly design. However, this is marred by a horrible UI and wasted potential when it comes to visual and audio design. You're probably thinking, wait, he didn't talk about the story and lore at all, and that would be because I skipped it all, at literally every opportunity because I was just interested in the gameplay. Sorry, you're gonna have to work that one out yourself. I hope you guys find these sorts of videos useful or entertaining. If you did and want more, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, or you could come and check out what games I'm playing over at my live stream on Twitch. That's all for now. Stay safe, take care, and take it easy.